Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel Wednesday morning Chelsea news. We are going through it all today. And listen, I have got the flipping notebook out. It's been one of those nights, right, where we're looking across the board and it's not just Chelsea. I don't know how much when you guys watch these videos. I want to say one thing here because we're doing multiple videos a day. I don't, and I've never at any point wanted to be the guy that you guys come to break the news. I don't have insider information. I don't want to spend my life on my phone chasing after news, okay? I just want to talk about my feelings about it. That's what this channel is. Sometimes I do get the flipping old school notebook out, all right? Not AI can't solve everything. I'm breaking down one piece of news here, and that is the news from Matt Law that Chelsea want to start next season with as many as 9 attackers in their first team squad. And you might look at this and be like, whoa, 9 attackers. That is so many attackers. How have you got that number? Well, when you think about the formation that Eze Madueke likes to play, we like to play with a 4-2-3-1. We've got a striker, we've got a number 10, we've got a left winger and a right winger. And of course, when you dilute that down, it's a lot more than that. We've got a lot of movement. We've got a lot of dynamism. We've got Gyökeres that's basically a striker. But let's look at it for the meat and potatoes, for what it really is. We have got 4 positions and we are looking to try and fill as much quality in those positions as we can. Last season, we started with a plethora of players, with an abundance of attackers. And the reality of it was, it wasn't what we needed. We had players like João Felix and for the majority of the season, Christopher Nkunku, that were there, really good players like on their day in a given system. But is it what Madueke wants? Probably not. What have we seen at the start of the transfer window? Where you signed Jamie Gittens, who's a touchline winger, playing off the left-hand side, and Jadon Sancho and Mudryk, who were wingers in the team last season, they're no longer there. So I think to make this easier to understand, because this is the morning video, when we think about this idea of having 9 attackers, this is what I've got so far, okay? Striking position, Mark Guiu, Liam Delap, Nicholas Jackson. 3 out of the 9, tick. Number 10 position, João Pedro, Cole Palmer, Esteval Willian. 6 out of the 10, done. Right wing. Who do I think is absolutely guaranteed to be at Chelsea and stay there next season? Before we get into outgoing stories in this video, subscribe and hit the like button if you're enjoying it. Pedro Neto is the only player that I think is destined to stay at Chelsea as a right wing option this season. As of right now, we're hearing Noni Madueke to Arsenal. We'll go into that in a moment. The left wing, having lost already Jadon Sancho, Mykhailo Mudryk. If you watch the last video on GBFC, we spoke about the chances of Tyreek George leaving Chelsea on loan. With that being said, Jamie Gittens is signed. So Gittens is the 8th attacker that we've got. If I read them out again, Guiu, Delap, Jackson, Pedro, Esteval, Palmer, Neto, Gittens. 9. That's what we're hearing right now. And that is where I have been looking at the rest of the news, because what I see happening right now in the transfer market, Chelsea have got the Gittens deal done. We wanted Gittens. We always wanted Gittens, apparently. João Pedro, the same. There's a lot of clubs linked with Pedro. Newcastle were there. Liverpool were apparently there. Chelsea, the interest came out in the news on Saturday, and then 36 hours later, we've signed João Pedro. So Chelsea were working really hard on this deal. And it makes me think, when it comes to who the other attacker's signing is going to be, I think we would have seen by now, potentially, with the interest from Spurs in Mohamed Kudus, I think Chelsea will have looked at this, and if we were worried, the same way that we were, that Pedro could have accepted Newcastle, could have gone elsewhere, and then we swooped in for him quickly and signed him. You see where I'm going with this? If this was the case, then if we're worried about Tottenham signing Mohamed Kudus, why aren't we going in for him as well? It's been made pretty clear that West Ham United are willing to accept deals and offers that aren't as high as the Mohamed Kudus release clause. But then, latest news is that Noni Madueke is being heavily discussed at Arsenal. Arsenal are discussing Noni Madueke internally in a separate deal from Eze, as reported here last week. No proposal has been sent yet to Chelsea or Noni, as Arsenal keep assessing multiple options. Those multiple options, you know it, I know it, include none other than Real Madrid's Rodrigo. And this is the latest from Ben Jacobs on Rodrigo. Arsenal view Rodrigo as a perfect fit. Real winger will hold talks with Xabi Alonso once back from the Club World Cup to clarify his future. By the way, Rodrigo has played 23 minutes in the last 4 matches for Real Madrid in this Club World Cup. Garcia, who's playing out on the right wing, is in incredible form, looks like a serious player. Arda Güler is going to be a huge stay in the Xabi Alonso setup for next season. I'm looking at Rodrigo right now as surplus to requirements at Real Madrid. But hear me out. Rodrigo viewed as the dream left winger target, but comfortable at right wing, a position he's often been deployed at Real. Noni Madueke is another idea on the right side, but no offer made yet to player or Chelsea. Enzo Maresca still values Madueke. However, let me take a sip of water here, ladies and gentlemen. CFC could entertain bids of £45 million plus with add-ons on top, especially if they secure another attacker. So Arsenal, right, let's just bring ourselves back here to what Arsenal have been linked with all summer. Madueke, Eze, wingers, Rodrigo. Arsenal wanted a striker. They wanted Sesko or Victor Gyökeres. Fair enough, they need a striker. Kai Havertz is not good enough to win you a Premier League. You know it, I know it, we all know it. So Arsenal wanting a striker is no surprise. Arsenal wanting backup on the wings. Martinelli's wanted by Saudi clubs. Maybe he goes there. I think Martinelli stays. I think he loves Arsenal, from what I can understand and see. And Saka, on the right wing, they probably need some backup there. So if they're bringing in Eze, right? And Fabrizio Romano is saying that the Eze deal and Madueke deals are separate business. It isn't Eze or Madueke, Eze or Rodrigo. But if Arsenal go out there and get themselves Eze, which is 3 installments to Crystal Palace, and Madueke, which if it's 45 million from Chelsea, A, I don't think that's enough money. B, where is the need here for the perfect fit player, Rodrigo, right? So we also need to think about Tottenham Hotspur and Mohamed Kudus. Now, we all know what Chelsea of old will have done. You see Willian, Brazilian Willian from many years ago, go into Spurs, and what would Roman Abramovich have done? He'd have gone out there, this is what he did, and we took him from the clutches of Tottenham Hotspur because we're not going to compete with Spurs. We're going to go out there and get the man that we want. So when Chelsea are interested in Mohamed Kudus, but if you look at all of the odds right now, Mohamed Kudus to Tottenham is probably the most likely according to all the bookies right now. So if Tottenham go aggressive for Mohamed Kudus, and then Arsenal go for Noni Madueke and also Eze, who Chelsea aren't linked with, then the players that are left in this conversation this summer are Rodrigo and Morgan Rogers. Now, Chelsea have been linked with Rodrigo weeks ago. We've been linked with Morgan Rogers also for a very long time. Now, this isn't me sitting here and saying to you, well, Chelsea are going to sign Rodrigo. Chelsea are going to sign Morgan Rogers. But doesn't it just seem a little bit... Arsenal are being very aggressive right now. They want that striker. They're going for Eze. They might also be going for Noni Madueke. If all of that goes through, then it means they're not going for Rodrigo. Rodrigo could be their absolute perfect fit winger, which of course he is. But again, Rodrigo is 90 million euros. Arsenal have still got to fix that striker issue. You can't go and spend 90 million euros on Rodrigo. You could, but they're not doing it because Rodrigo still is waiting to see if he's got a future at Real Madrid. Arsenal need that striker, Sesko, Gyökeres, whoever it may be. And then at the moment, we are seeing more and more day by day that they want Noni Madueke and Eze. So where's the spot for Rodrigo? Rodrigo's not getting a sniff at Real Madrid, right? I'm watching every game of this Club World Cup. I can see it. Rodrigo's not in the plans of Xabi Alonso. They will say, yeah, we're going to have a chat after the World Cup. What, all of a sudden, you're going to take out Garcia, who's having a wonderful World Cup and looks like a phenomenal young player for Real Madrid. And for Chelsea, when we're talking about those 9 attackers, and at the moment, the overall view is Chelsea want a versatile attacker. Mohamed Kudus is the current name on everyone's lips, but he's heavily wanted by Spurs. Chelsea are going to have to probably wait to sell Madueke to go for another player. Mohamed Kudus is wanted by Spurs right now. They don't need to wait to sell a Madueke to go for Kudus, right? So if Tottenham go for Mohamed Kudus and Arsenal go for Madueke and Eze, they don't sign Rodrigo. That leaves Morgan Rogers and Rodrigo open in the transfer window. My question here, right, and again, this is pure speculation. I can see you commenting right now, Benson, you're waffling. You're going, like, barking up the wrong tree. I think there is an opportunity for Chelsea to go for Rodrigo or Morgan Rogers in this transfer window, because other teams are either going to take our players or go for other options that we are interested in. So, my big question today, at the time of you watching this, on Wednesday the 2nd of July, is what's going to happen with Kudus? I think this is going to move quick. I think within the next 48 hours, I anticipate either Chelsea going in for him aggressively, and if we sign Kudus, forget Rogers, forget Rodrigo. These are all pipe dreams anyway, but I'm just kind of fitting the pieces in here because I think Rodrigo's leaving Real Madrid. There's no doubt for me. Where's he going to go? Where's Rodrigo going to go? He's clearly not in Xabi Alonso's plans today. So what makes you think when La Liga starts, he's going to be in his plans tomorrow? I think Rodrigo's leaving. And we keep hearing like, yeah, prepared to sanction an exit for 90 million euros, 76 million quid. If Arsenal sign Eze and Madueke, Rodrigo is a free hit. Go for him. And I say a free hit, that's the wrong thing to say. It's an expensive hit. But bloody hell, right? 9 attackers. Guiu, Delap, Jackson, João Pedro 10, Esteval, Palmer, all the 10s. Neto, Gittins. Number 9, versatile attacker, Rodrigo. Done. I leave it there. Let's go now into the rest of the news. This is the latest on Carney Chukwuemeka. Chelsea's idea remains to sell Chukwuemeka this summer. Dortmund unlikely to pay Chelsea's asking price as it stands, but if it drops significantly or he becomes available for loan again, then he could rejoin the German club next season. Chukwuemeka is set to stay at Dortmund for the duration of their Club World Cup campaign after an agreement was made with Chelsea last night. So I guess this is kind of like, this doesn't really sit very well with me because I feel as though we've overpaid for Gittins. And then if this deal was made last night that Chukwuemeka can stay till the end of the Club World Cup, which if you watch Dortmund, they beat Monterrey 2-1 in the late kickoff last night. They look good. Gyökeres scoring 2. Could have had a couple more. But Dortmund are going into the quarters. Chukwuemeka's going to stay. Are Chelsea doing Dortmund favours here because we feel like we've got a bargain for Gittins? If that's the case, like we've not got a bargain, we've overpaid. Let's be real. Chukwuemeka staying at Dortmund, I think this is another one of those where it's a really good player. Chelsea have clearly not got a plan for him. But what is that sale value right now? We're not going to get big fees for Carney Chukwuemeka. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. I know that today's video has been very much a huge skeptical looking and being like just guessing everything. But there's also Malik Fofana, who a player that Chelsea were linked with. Forest reached an agreement with Lyon, but the Belgian is waiting to play for a club in the Champions League. We could see Chelsea just be like, all right, well, we got Gittins. We might just go and try and get a bargain in Fofana because he's going to leave Lyon. Lyon might be relegated, so the price might be low. There is also still, as we spoke about in the video last night, there is still links to Alejandro Garnacho, which to me, based on what we've said in this video today, there are players that might be available this summer that we should be looking at. The quality of Rodrigo, Morgan Rogers, compared to Garnacho, it's mad. But anyway, this was more of like a speculative video to start your Wednesday. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And I'll see you all later. Subscribe if you're new. Smack that like button. Come on, you Blues.